Hello everyone, my name is Mad Dog and I run the BeamGT Discord server. If you think you're competitive and you like throwing down lap times, you should come join us. We have custom UI, leaderboards, a whole bunch of cars, custom timers. If you think you're interested in that, we'd love to have you. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to navigate to our BeamNG user folder. And we are going to create a folder called Prefab Tracks. You can name it whatever you want, doesn't matter, just make a new folder inside of your user one. After that, we are going to launch BeamNG. Alright, so now that we've launched BeamNG, we're going to load into the map that we would like to create our race for. It can be a vanilla or modded map, doesn't matter. And we are going to begin by pressing F11. RaceMP uses Lua triggers as a form of communication between the server and the client. So what that means is that we're going to, well, first of all, we're going to make sure that you have the inspector open. Go ahead and click Window, click the inspector. It's very important, make sure you have that open. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click Create Object. Go ahead and click BeamNG. And this right here is your Lua trigger. You can go ahead and click that. You notice once you click that on your cursor, there should be some access marks in your hand. Go ahead and click that down. Go ahead and click Object Select. Go ahead and click the Lua trigger, and you'll see that it becomes highlighted. And what you can do is that you can do rotation, you can move it, you can scale it, just like any other object in the world editor. If you need tutorials on how to do this stuff, I really recommend you go look on just some other YouTube channels. They've done a great job at teaching me. So we're going to place one Lua trigger. Mentally, we're going to note that as our start and finish line. Our second Lua trigger, we are going to put right here. Lua trigger, right here. And we can go to Object Select, and we'll scale it. Perfect. Now you don't necessarily have to do this in this order. You can just place them and go back and resize them. That's up to you. That's up to you to see how you want to do that. We're going to place a third trigger right here. Let's resize that one. Awesome. And we'll just say for the sake of the tutorial, we will put a penalty zone right here. And what that will do is if we go too far, we will get a penalty. Whoops, there we go. Raise, pardon me, raise that. Awesome. We're just going to move that back a little bit. Okay, so that's going to be our penalty box. We're going to go back and we're going to rename these checkpoints. RaceMP uses a few different Lua checkpoint names. I'll explain all of them here in just a moment, but the one that you should know of is that there is framework for a pit zone. If you want to do something with it, go ahead. I think that would be awesome. You can make some working pit zones and everything, but right now in RaceMP, there's nothing featured for that. The framework is just there. So, with our Lua triggers, we are going to name our start and stop line start, stop. Whoops. Start, stop. Now, it doesn't have to be in this format. You can make two separate Lua triggers, one for the start of the lap and one for the end of the lap, more so if you want to do some point-to-point races. But if you're just going to do a start and stop line, go ahead and name it start, stop. Next, you are going to go down to the Lua function line. You're going to click this small little box, and you are going to type in on BeamNG trigger, exactly as it's typed. I'll paste it down in the description in case you can't see it. And then you are going to click OK. We're going to move on to our checkpoints. We're going to name it lapSplit 1. We're going to put the Lua function in there. Hit OK. Next one, lapSplit 2. Paste our Lua function in there. And for your checkpoints and your out of bounds zones, they must ascend in order. So obviously checkpoint 1 is going to be lapSplit 1, checkpoint 2 is lapSplit 2, and so on. Not that complicated. For out of bounds, same premise. Out of bounds 1. We're going to paste that in. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we have a very rudimentary track right here. Something cool about RaceMP, and the reason it uses prefabs is that it's a very easy way for the mod to paste information into the server. And that information doesn't just have to be Lua triggers, it can actually be props as well. So just as an example, let's make a checkered line right here. We're going to go to decal road editor, we'll make a line, we will set the texture, checkered line. There we go. Perfect. And that can be used for any props. So you can put rally signs, you could put caution signs, hay bales, anything you want. Just make sure that if you are importing assets, make sure you import it to the map itself. Don't just use RaceMP, it won't know where to look for the textures. Next thing we're going to do is that we are going to select all of the assets that we've placed in, Lua triggers, props, grasses, anything that your heart desired. Go ahead and select it. Right click, pack into prefab, and we're going to back all the way out. Now this is where you go back to the folder that you created. You're going to double click on that folder. Mine is called prefab tracks, and we're going to name this one Utah tutorial. Easy as that. Awesome. So now your prefab is saved. We're going to X out of the world editor, and we can exit out of BeamNG. Next thing we're going to do is that we're going to open our user folder. We're going to go into prefab tracks. We're going to look for our track. We're going to copy this. We're going to paste it somewhere convenient. Just like that. You are going to create a folder. Name that levels. Inside of that folder, you are going to make a folder with the same tech name as your map. I'm using Utah. The tech name for Utah is Utah. But something to look out for is that if you're using a modded map, sometimes the zip file is named something different than the tech name. So you're going to double click on that zip file, double click levels, and whatever this file is named, that is your map's tech name. So be careful about that. You're going to go into Utah. You're going to make another folder, title that multiplayer. And we are going to put our prefab into that folder. Now the reason this works is that this folder is going to act as a mod. How we're going to do that is we're going to send this to a compressed zip folder. Name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Utah Tutorial. Perfect. And we are going to set that aside. So you should have your server set up at this point. Make sure your config is all set. Make sure your map is set to the map that you want it to be. And we're going to go into our resources folder. We're going to double click client. And we are going to put our tutorial track into the client folder, just as you would a mod. So after you put your track zip into your client folder, what you're going to do is you're going to take the RaceMP zip, you're going to extract it, double click, and you should see a folder called resources. Go ahead and copy that. Go into your tutorial server, whatever you're using. Go ahead and paste the resources folder in and allow it to merge with the one that's already there. To double check, make sure you go into your client, make sure you've got the RaceMP version, and you should have a RaceMP folder within your server resources, and within that one, RaceMP Lua. Easy as that. We're going to start our server. So now that we're connected to our server, whenever you log in, you should see something called the race board pop up. Go ahead and minimize that. I don't think there's a way to get it back if you exit out. I think you have to relog to do that, so just be careful about that. RaceMP has a few commands, but the first one that we're going to do is we're going to type /list. /list will give you a list of every track that is applicable to the map that you're on right now. So right now we only have one called Utah Tutorial. We're going to do /set. space track equal Utah tutorial. And if you pay attention, you can see that that prefab got loaded, and we can tell because we have our checkered line right here. Now the same thing would happen with other props. You can load in hay bales, anything that I mentioned before, they'll load in with the prefab and they will go away if you restart the server or switch to another track. So just be careful about that. Once we're in our car, we'll start driving our track and we should see that we hit the start and stop line in the top right. Take this turn and we will hit checkpoint number 1. Here, checkpoint 2. And we finish our lap. Now we made a penalty box over here, so if we did go into this zone, you'll see that we get marked with the penalty. It'll say that we're out of bounds. Continue with our lap. And our lap is marked with a penalty. So the next thing that we can do with this mod is put together multiplayer races, and the first thing that we're going to do with that is we're going to do /set laps equal 1. So we're just going to do 1 lap for the sake of the tutorial. We can do /start, and that will give us a countdown. Perfect, and you'll notice that in the top right, our race board, can't tell because I don't have other people here, but every time someone passes a checkpoint, their race board status will update based off of their time. And as they finish the race after however many laps, this is what they will see. Now unfortunately, RaceMP is pretty bare bones. You can't go back and see a full list of boards. Your players will only be told what position they finished in, and after the race you can refer to the race board to see what everyone finished. So that's about it. It's pretty basic, pretty bare bones. I would really like to see some people expand upon this mod. I know Funky7Monkey included an unlimited license. Very nice of him to do that. Just a couple tips and tricks. If we are in the server, we can unpack this prefab and we can take a look. Make sure that whenever you do out of bounds zones, you don't overlap them. Try and make any out of bounds zone that you have just one big Lua trigger, otherwise they can overlap and they'll stack up penalties. The other thing to note too is that RaceMP is, like I said, very bare bones. If you're going to do this with friends, make sure you understand that there's a little bit of an honor system involved. But if you have any questions, go ahead and join my BeamGT Discord. My name is Mad Dog. You can hit me up there. If you need anything else, just feel free to message me. Thank you.